Beijing has said a ban on seafood imports coming from Japan is, quote, completely legitimate. That's in response to Tokyo threatening to file a complaint with the World Trade Organization.
The international community has expressed criticism extensively and taken relevant preventative measures in response to the selfish and extremely irresponsible act of the Japanese government to forcibly start discharging the nuclear contaminated water into the ocean. According to Chinese laws and regulations and the relevant provisions of the WTO's agreement and the application of sanitary and phytosanitary measures, it is completely legitimate, reasonable, and necessary for the Chinese competent authorities to take emergency measures against aquatic products originating in Japan.
Some allege Tokyo's threats of WTO action against Beijing are a telling sign that a Chinese ban would significantly impact the Japanese economy. China started restricting Japanese seafood imports after Tokyo began releasing treated nuclear wastewater from its defunct Fukushima power plant last week. Despite an outcry of opposition not only from Beijing but a number of other Pacific nations, Japan went ahead with the controversial release. RT contributor Carl Jha believes Beijing's concerns are completely valid and Japan's just playing the victim card.
It's not a one-time release. Will continually release this nuclear contaminated water for the next 30 to 40 and maybe even more years. But right now, a lot of the fishermen's livelihood is on the line. So for example, China is the largest importer of seafood, and they import, mainland China combined with Hong Kong, they import about $1 billion worth of seafood from Japan every year. China is rightly concerned because they are the ones that will end up as the consumer, and as are many of the Pacific nations like Fiji. The Japanese government thought because they have the explicit backing and approval of the United States, they can basically do whatever they want, ignoring the controversy it generates in the neighboring countries such as China and South Korea. Japan is playing defensive here. I mean, by taking China to court, to WTO, it's trying to deflect some of the international criticism on its decision to release the water. Then it's really up to the WTO court to decide on the merit of Japan's complaint. And I find it very hard to believe the WTO judge will find the Japanese complaint valid when Japan is the one that's releasing this nuclear contaminated water into the ocean.